The training deck of Station Argatha 7 hummed with a rhythm that only machines could love, the pulse of power conduits, the whisper of gravity stabilizers, the subtle thrum of weapon emitters in standby mode. It was the sound of discipline, of structure, of war waiting to happen. Cadet Leora Vex, all 4 arms folded neatly behind her carapaced back, tried not to glance at the human standing a few meters away. The man was humming, some earth song about sunshine and fire. Humans, she thought, were strange even by galactic standards. The instructor, a massive plated Drakeen named Colonel Tavor, paced before the row of cadets. Each species represented the best of their homeworld. The quick-fingered Teruvians, the calculating mechs, the agile Felithans, and, inexplicably, one human. Today, Tavor rumbled, voice reverberating through his armor, you learn the truth of combat balance. You learn why the galaxy fights with one weapon hand and one shield hand. You learn the law that no species, not even the gods, can break, the principle of the single focus. He tapped his talon against the deck, and holograms of warriors appeared, each wielding one blaster or blade. Dual-wielding, he continued, is an illusion of strength. You lose precision, coordination, and power. You cannot split your mind between 2 strikes. You cannot. The human raised a hand. Question. Every head turned. Even the ceiling drone paused its scan. Tavor's crest rippled in irritation. Cadet Cole, I have not finished the... Yes, sorry, sir, said Elias Cole, the human in question. He smiled, that infuriatingly casual, earth-born expression that said he'd already made up his mind. It's just, we used to do that. Dual-wielding, I mean. Tavor blinked both sets of eyes. Impossible. No creature can. Cole shrugged. Well, we're not exactly known for doing the possible, sir. Leora stifled a hiss of laughter. Humans were reckless, impulsive, and confusing, but somehow they survived everything. The law of one. Training commenced. Cadets filed into spar pods, simulated battle environments where time, pain, and physics could be bent without fatal consequences. Tavor watched from a raised platform, arms folded, as holographic adversaries swarmed his students. Each cadet chose a weapon, plasma rifle, ion blade, shock whip, and their corresponding defense tool, energy buckler, kinetic barrier, or phase field. Every species fought according to instinct. Every motion, every block, every parry, all obeyed the law of one, except Cole. He stood in the center of his pod, scanning the weapon rack like a kid in a candy store. Then, with a grin, he grabbed 2 plasma pistols. Tavor's crest flattened. Cadet Cole, what in the 9 spirals do you think you are doing? Testing the theory, sir. Cole twirled both pistols with theatrical flair. If it's a universal law, shouldn't it be able to handle a little human curiosity? Leora couldn't help it, she muttered. He's going to vaporize himself. Cole heard. Only one way to find out. The simulation snapped to life. 10 hollow drones surrounded him, weapons ready. Cole moved like liquid light. The first volley came, and both his pistols fired simultaneously, left and right, alternating blasts that tracked 2 drones at once. His body pivoted, rolled, danced. Where others focused on a single enemy, Cole flowed between targets, twin lines of plasma weaving in sync. The instructor's upper eyes narrowed. That is, not possible. By the 3rd minute, Cole had dismantled the entire squad. By the 5th, the simulation increased difficulty tenfold, and he was still standing. When it finally ended, Cole spun both pistols, holstered them, and winked at the stunned cadets. Tavor's voice came out low and dangerous. Human. Explain. Cole tapped his temple. 2 hemispheres, sir. Left brain, right brain. Earth's evolutionary quirk. We can parallel process to a degree. Plus, practice. And stubbornness. Tavor's throat rumbled. You are defying a law written by millennia of combat science. Cole smiled. Maybe it needed a rewrite. To the smirk and the storm. The next week, word spread across the station. The human had broken the law of one. Cadets whispered about him in the mess hall. Scientists ran neuroscans. And instructors debated whether it was skill or insanity. Leora found herself sitting across from him one evening, unable to resist curiosity. So, dual-wielding. You really think it gives you an advantage? Cole took a bite of something the replicator called pizza, chewed thoughtfully and said, Depends. Most folks train to channel energy through one focus point. I just figured, why not train two? That's inefficient, she said. You divide your strength. He chuckled. Maybe. But sometimes dividing makes you unpredictable. You ever fight someone who doesn't follow the rules? Leora hesitated. No. Then you've never really fought. His tone wasn't arrogant, just certain. It made her wonder what kind of world produced someone who thought like that. Humans were the youngest species in the Alliance, barely a century into interstellar travel, yet they carried themselves as if they'd been fighting cosmic wars forever. The next day, Tavor announced an exhibition duel. Cadet Cole, he said. You will face Cadet Vex. Standard rules. No lethal force. Cole grinned. You got it, boss. Leora's forearms tensed. She was faster, stronger, and trained since childhood in the Drakeen martial forms. The human had only 2 arms, 2, and half her reach. Still, something in his smile unnerved her. They entered the spar ring. The crowd gathered. Cole drew 2 shock batons. Leora unsheathed her paired plasma blades. Ready? He asked. She nodded. The duel began. Leora lunged first. 4 arms striking in a storm of precision. Cole ducked, twisted, parried left and right. His batons crossing in fluid arcs. He moved as if his arms belonged to different people, each striking with independent rhythm. When she swept low, he blocked high. When she feinted right, his left arm countered before her motion even completed. Your stance is unbalanced, she snapped. He laughed. That's the point. Their blades clashed, energy crackling. Leora overextended, expecting him to retreat, but he didn't. His right baton caught her upper blade. His left flipped under her guard and tapped her chest plate. The ring chimed, hit registered. The crowd erupted. Leora stared, breathless. How? Cole lowered his weapons. I told you. You can't predict chaos. 3. The test of war. 3 months later, Station Argatha. 7 received a distress signal. The frontier world Karnas had fallen under attack by the Wrath Collective, biomechanical marauders who harvested neural tissue to build their hive minds. Every available ship was mobilized, including the cadet carriers. This wasn't a simulation anymore. On board the troop transport Astragale, Tavor briefed his unit. You are cadets no longer. You fight as soldiers. The Wrath adapt fast. They analyze patterns, exploit repetition. Your goal is to be unpredictable. Cole grinned. Guess I've got that covered. Leora sat beside him, checking her armor seals. If you die, she said dryly, I will take your pistols. He smirked. Fair deal. The drop pods launched. The planet below burned. Cities reduced to glass, skies filled with metallic locusts. The air was thick with static and fear. Their squad landed amidst ruins, energy fire slicing through the dust. The Wrath came in swarms, sleek, insectal machines with neural cores that pulsed like living hearts. The cadets formed a defensive line, firing in disciplined bursts. Cole didn't. He moved. Twin plasma pistols in hand, he spun between cover points, firing in alternating rhythm. Left, right, left, double tap. Each shot found a target. The Wrath struggled to adapt. Their predictive algorithms couldn't map his chaotic motion. His dual-wielding style, once a novelty, became their salvation. "Cole!" Leora shouted over comms. "Your flank. I see it." He dove sideways, rolled, and fired both weapons upward. 2 drones exploded midair. He laughed, wild and bright amid the chaos. "Still think no species can dual-wield?" She aimed, shot 3 enemies off his back and shouted, "I think you're insane." "Probably." Tavor's voice crackled through the link. "Focus, both of you. Push forward." They did. Together, they carved a path to the Wrath command node. The battle turned, until the ground split open and the Wrath Prime emerged. It was enormous, a fusion of flesh and alloy, 10 meters tall, with tendrils of energy coiling from its arms. Its voice echoed in every comm channel. One mind, one will, one focus. Leora's blood ran cold. The creature embodied the very law Tavor had preached. Singular, perfect coordination. No one could face that alone. Except perhaps the human who didn't believe in laws. For the human's gambit, Cole, Tavor barked. "Fall back. That's an order." Cole didn't move. He holstered one pistol, drew a plasma blade instead, and grinned. "Guess it's time to see how far chaos can go." He sprinted straight at the Prime. The thing reacted instantly. Energy tendrils lashed out, cutting through rubble. Cole Dove rolled and fired upward with his left pistol while slashing with his right-hand blade. Dual trajectories crossed, confusing the Prime sensors. Leora cursed and charged after him. "You suicidal idiot. Hey, you said you wanted my pistols." The Prime roared, its core flaring crimson. It struck with blinding speed. Cole barely dodged, his left arm seared by plasma. Pain flashed through him, but he kept moving. He had to. Every instinct screamed to focus on one weapon, one target, but his human mind refused to comply. He split his attention, one half tracking the creature's energy signature, the other predicting its movement pattern. His neural HUD flickered. Systems overloaded. He laughed through gritted teeth. "Come on, big guy, keep up." Leora reached him, blades whirling. "You cannot fight this alone." "Who said I was alone?" he shouted. They fought side by side, her 4 arms, his 2 moving in perfect dissonance. Where she blocked, he struck. Where he faltered, she countered. Their motions formed a rhythm that defied logic. 2 beings fighting as one chaotic storm against a perfect machine. The Prime hesitated. Its pattern broke. Tavor's voice cut in. "Now, focus all fire on its core." Every cadet opened fire. The combined barrage pierced the Prime's chest, ripping through its neural lattice. It screamed, imploded, and the shock wave flattened everything within 100 meters. Silence followed. Smoke cleared. Cole lay on his back, armor scorched, grinning at the gray sky. "Told you no species can dual-wield, huh?" Leora knelt beside him, shaking her head. "You are impossible." He coughed, laughing. "Nah, just human." The aftermath, the battle for Karnas, became a turning point in the war. The Alliance rewrote its combat doctrines, integrating what scientists called human bifurcated tactics. Training programs across dozens of worlds began experimenting with dual-interface neural control, but none achieved Cole's precision. Tavor stood in the medbay weeks later, watching Cole through the glass as he recovered. "He broke the law," the colonel said quietly. "And because he did, we survived." Leora folded her arms. "Will you tell the other instructors?" "I will tell them the truth." Tavor's eyes glimmered. "That the universe's laws are only laws until someone human decides they aren't." Cole stirred awake, catching their silhouettes beyond the glass. "Hey," he mumbled, voice hoarse. "Did we win?" Leora smiled softly. "We did." "Good," he muttered. "Next time maybe I'll try triple-wielding." She rolled her eyes. "Don't you dare." 6. The legacy years later, cadets on Station Argatha. 7 still whispered the tale. They spoke of the human who defied combat science, who split his mind between 2 weapons and lived to tell the story. The instructors made it a cautionary example, but the students saw something else. Possibility. The legend spread. On frontier worlds, mercenaries mimicked his style, calling it Cole's dance. In hologames, players dual-wielded blasters and whispered his line as a challenge to physics itself. "Watch me." Leora Vex became a commander in the Alliance vanguard. She still carried her mentor's twin pistols, engraved with the words he'd once spoken. "No species can dual-wield. Watch me." And sometimes when she stood under alien stars, she imagined that somewhere out there, Elias Cole was still fighting, laughing into the chaos, rewriting the laws one trigger pull at a time. Epilogue. The archive of impossible things centuries later, deep within the Galactic Academy, a historian scrolled through an old file labeled Human Combat Trials, Argatha, 7. The footage flickered. A young human in a sparring pod, 2 pistols blazing, moving like fire given form. The historian smiled faintly. "Primitive technology," he murmured. "But the mind, extraordinary." He looked at the final annotation written by Colonel Tavor himself. "The law of one is broken." The human taught us that focus is not about limiting the mind. It is about expanding what it can hold. The historian closed the file. Outside the archive window, new cadets trained. Many species, many worlds, each holding 2 weapons. The human's defiance had become doctrine. His smile a memory carved into galactic history. Somewhere in the hum of the simulators, a voice seemed to echo. Half a whisper, half a grin. "No species can dual-wield. Watch me."